Hello everyone, a bit of an unorthodox one today. No video to cover, but I've got these tweets for ya, courtesy of SpaceGuru5 and a few others, but mostly SpaceGuru5. He's a commentator, though that's not important. What is important is what he said. Rape shouldn't destroy you. You need to learn how to be more resilient and to take control of your life and your emotions. Victimizing yourself and others won't do you any favors, and you should seek a therapist if you're really struggling that much. Let you speak for you. This goes for any traumatic experience, by the way. Why? Sorry if my wording was off in my previous tweets. I was just trying to say that trauma doesn't need to control your life, and there's many ways you can be helped in overcoming trauma. It's not healthy to be perpetually miserable. I hope I made things clear. You just made it worse is what you fucking did. Okay, while I am somewhat glad that you owned up to a bit of it. Obscurian. That's implying his apology was genuine. No wait, apologies. Yeah, the second apology. I have quite a few problems with that one, so let's get into it. YouTube, dude? What? Why does he even need to apologize to begin with? It's not like he said anything wrong. Also, Obscurian is a little bitch who has a hate crush on Doodletones, therefore his input is invalidated. Well, counter-argument. Don't call me that, counter-argument. You are clearly uneducated as to how trauma even works. YouTube, dude, I'll have you know that I've experienced trauma before. Like, one time someone threw a hot dog on the ground, and that was very traumatic for me. Rest in peace, hot dog. Trauma involves a victim counter-argument. You get trauma because you were exposed to something you should not have been exposed to. When SpaceGuru5 says that people going through trauma, no, people who went through rape should stop victimizing themselves, that it won't do any favors, then he's being stupid because they are victims. The only way I could see this logic being applied logically is if it were addressing people who wanted to seek attention or get benefits from saying they're going through trauma. And at that rate, I wouldn't even say they're a trauma victim, or at least the trauma doesn't affect them as much as it may have used to. No, those people are then assholes. And Space Guru, I think this makes your tweet worse now, because now it implies that people are overstating issues when they're actually not, which is a toxic mentality in general, but it's one especially for trauma victims. Going back to that follow-up tweet for a second, sorry if my wording was off in my previous tweets. No, your problem wasn't just the wording. Your problem was that you, unintentionally or not, shamed a good amount of people experiencing trauma, and now you're understating your understatement. Did you even read what people were calling you out for? Hell, what you said in this follow-up, your paired speech, doesn't even share the same message compared to your original tweet. Look, here's before. Rape victims, you should stop feeling bad about yourselves, and if you're really feeling that bad, get help. Otherwise, you're being a bitch. Now here's after. It doesn't have to be this way. There are plenty of options for you. Yeah, I think there's a huge difference in the overall message there. And even then, Space Guru, your tweet is still flawed, as you still need to realize the fact that trauma is not easy to overcome at all. You can't just say, don't let it control your life, and then expect for them to be better in a matter of minutes. That's kind of one of the reasons why people called you out. Hey, that's a good point. Well, guess what? It's not mine. It's Obscurian's. No! I don't know if you had any malicious intent behind your original tweet, and it's not my place to say if that's the case, but it kind of seems like to me that you're really misinformed about this type of stuff. I went through trauma myself, multiple times. It all still gets to me, of course, but I'm learning to be more resilient. I wouldn't be saying these things if I hadn't done it. Literally, this doesn't even matter. I'm sorry you had to undergo trauma yourself, but just because you went through it doesn't mean you comprehend how it works. How else do you think the mentally handicapped are able to exist? YouTube dude, are you calling SpaceGuru5 retarded? No, what I mean is... Okay, I am, but...
As someone who wants to study psychology, I understand. However, the thing is, while it does take time to heal, you cannot cling on to it your whole life. I think the message here should be, life is going to be full of downfalls. You can either learn from them or not, but it will continue to harm you and hurt your sanity. There's no right way of getting over pain, but if you let it further haunt you, then it'll hurt you mentally.
This guy wants to study psychology. The fact that you imply that people choose to keep any trauma around, that they choose to be miserable, not only is downright dishonest, but it's also extremely scummy. No, nobody has a choice in being miserable. Not everybody can just get over trauma and PTSD easily. This is just astonishing.
You misunderstood what I said. I never said once it was easy to overcome, and if people find it hard or cannot overcome these kind of things, then they should get help. What you cannot do is hold on to the trauma forever, or it's going to take a toll on your mental health. PTSD is a serious case, but the thing is, these people need help to move on because they are trapped in their past. That's why counseling and therapy exists.
Okay, no shit! Everyone knows that trauma and PTSD is bad and takes a toll on your mental health. Nobody's arguing this. Also, that is not how PTSD works. Nobody who has PTSD is necessarily trapped in their past. Instead, certain events will trigger them to think about their past. You're talking about PTSD as if it involves a bunch of baby boomers who want to go back to the 80s, and that is not only completely insensitive, but it's false. Victims are not thinking about the event 100% of the time. The thoughts are uncontrollable, not constant. Also, your option of therapy/counseling isn't always the best idea given how, well, 1. In America, therapy/counseling is not cheap whatsoever, especially given how healthcare over here is in the shitter at this point. If there was a way to get therapy without having to sell off a pound of flesh, that would be one thing. But not everybody can afford that. What are those people who can't afford counseling supposed to do then? 2. It's not a guarantee that people will seek it immediately, or if the therapy will even be good. People can be afraid to get help after being traumatized, or you just get a shitty therapist.
You have a point about counseling. However, the thing is, people need at least some form of pillar in their life. Friends, family, or what have you, because people need to learn how to let it go and move on.
Alright, I'm done with this thread. David, there's a difference between letting go of things and having a mental disorder. You do know why there's medication for PTSD, right? By the way, SpaceGuru5 liked these tweets from David. Make of that what you will. Hi, YouTube dude. You have something to say? No. Just hi. Time for the second apology, right guys? So, this one's a twit longer, appropriately titled, I can't believe this happened!
Oh, how could this happen? That's what I expect you to say, bitch.
As I'm sure you are aware, I made a couple of tweets yesterday. They've since been removed, but here's what they said verbatim. Let's skip over that recap. Admittedly, my word choice wasn't all that great, but I said this in response to all the #MeToo and #IBelieveSurvivors stuff that's been going on, especially regarding the cases of Vic Mignogna and Todd Haberkorn. Oh my god. So that's what this was about? Time fucking out. When you said you should seek a therapist if you're struggling that much, did you mean... No, not having it. Space Guru, if you've experienced trauma before, more specifically if you've experienced trauma that involved someone abusing you, you would know that even if you were to go through therapy, that still wouldn't quell your wanting of justice against the abuser who wronged you. Like, who's to say those in the Me Too movement haven't gone to therapy yet? And wait, is that what the whole learning to let go shit entailed? Cause if so, then 1, this is not a trait exclusive to PTSD victims. On the contrary, it's a general human concept, and telling PTSD victims to stop seeking justice may help in some cases where if you actually were to try seeking justice, it hurt more than it would help, but in other cases, it could be the other way around. This isn't a one-model-fits-all situation like you claim it to be. Oh, and since this was in response to the Me Too movement, then secondly, telling people to let go of something like this even though they have the resources and reason to speak up is revolting. This isn't some little kid who ate another classmate's candy or something. This is rape! No way in hell should the abuser get away with a mere slap on the wrist. That does unfortunately happen most of the time, but it shouldn't. And you saying it should because... Hang on a second.
Is it safe to assume that the Me Too movement has essentially devolved into the modern-day Salem witch trials?
Because some, not all, some people may spread lies about otherwise innocent bystanders is, if anything, taking your anger out on the wrong type of person. Maybe rape accusations should have just been handled privately instead of by social media. It's a very serious accusation, and its treatment online has created a lot of unneeded drama and flared emotions. Space Guru. The entire reason the Me Too movement exists is because victims tried handling things privately, and it didn't work because the environment around them refused to enforce anything, or, and this is often the case with a lot of rape victims, they did try going to law enforcement only to get shut down and ridiculed. Even with a strong case supporting them, it's very rare that victims will get the justice they deserve. Let me emphasize this. Even with a strong case supporting them. Modern-day Salem witch trials didn't used to be part of the same community that saved Spocker Theory from his reputation being ruined because of all the bullshit being lobbied towards him getting called out? Because that would never happen back in the days of the Salem witch trials. Do you even know why those trials ended? They ended because someone important was called out to be a witch, and people weren't having that. Not because they realized how ludicrous the whole thing was, but because of a goddamn appeal to authority argument. Beforehand, they wouldn't even care about any defense for witches, and if you defended a so-called witch, you'd be labeled one yourself. Nowadays, if someone were to do that to Ponder Sprocket, the person who mainly called out the bullshit towards Spocter, they'd be viewed as an idiot. Yes, sexual assault allegations can be pretty bad, but discounting the progress we made as a human race, and discounting rape being a real fucking thing that actually happens, just so you can make this dogshit comparison work, just so you can say that rape victims are victimizing themselves. Genuinely, go fuck yourself. Fuck off with this regressive ignorance that helps nothing other than your idiotic narrative. Now yes, rape is a sensitive subject, but I tried approaching it in the best way I could. Really? That's the best way you could have approached it? Are you sure about that? Sure enough, people took my tweets the wrong way, and bridges ended up being burned for no good reason other than people took what I said way too personally. I could have worded the original tweets better for sure, but that did not excuse all the accusations of me being insensitive and clearly not understanding trauma. All of this is why I deleted those 2 tweets and posted a new one with better word choice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we like to call a non-apology. Let me explain. You see, I get where Space Guru is coming from here. He feels as though the backlash from what he said was too drastic for the situation at hand. We've all been there before. Here's the thing, however. When you make an apology, you're not just saying that what you did was wrong. You are also accepting the consequences for your actions. No buts, ands, or ifs. If you feel as though the consequences you received were overly brutal, then don't apologize. Just disown what you said for your own reasons or something and move on. That probably won't get you any bridges mended anytime soon, but at least it would be honest. That's another thing too. Honesty. So many people on the internet abuse the apology card to the point where an actual apology becomes meaningless, which is a shame, and "I'm sorry" can mean so much in terms of how people grow and learn as human beings. It shows that you're ready to face trouble head on, but instead some people make an apology to get away from trouble, and that's kind of infuriating. It's one thing if an apology is induced by anxiety or a breakdown. I don't like it when stuff such as that happens, but it's understandable. However, an apology stemming from cowardice is disgusting. Know why? Well, Space Guru made another apology after his second one, but the thing is, that's free apologies. And the unfortunate reality is, by then, most people just don't want to hear it. He became the boy who cried "sorry," even if this time, he may have actually meant it. Look, he restates all of the digressions people held against him, he accepted the result of people blocking him because of this, and he explained why this whole thing happened, but made sure not to use the explanation as an excuse. In my opinion, that's a genuine apology, which is exactly what makes his previous 2 a shame. Or at least that's what I would have said if I didn't find out about this video. We are not done yet. Man, and I was this close to scrapping the commentary too. Unfortunately, SpaceGuru5 blew it. YouTube dude, you said you weren't gonna cover a video today. I lied. YouTube dude, this isn't fair. I mean, look at this tweet. My latest video was a mistake replete with mistakes. I should have realized sooner that things were generally cooling down, and so I've decided to delete the video. Let's just move on. Counter-argument.
It's too late to apologize. It's too late.
Something's been brewing within the commentary community for the past while, and it's gotten to the point where ignoring it is damn near impossible. Me, several of my commentator friends, commentators whom I used to consider friends, we're all being affected by them. Those things in question are spite and toxicity.
So you say.
On January 3rd, I posted a commentary on Nero's Q after having temporarily left the CC for reasons that involved petty drama.
Huh, didn't know you came back to the commentary community.
While it was generally well received, some people took issue with my complaints about Nero's outro skit and how harsh some of my words were. While I didn't handle the initial backlash the best way, I attest that it was me expressing my strong opinions on something that I personally found to be repulsive.
Really?
Then, at the closing of my final thoughts, I said, try making a good commentary. The CC doesn't need shit like this. People definitely took issue with this statement. I want to make something clear. My commentating style tends to be on the harsher side. My early influences were MCL01, Youngblood Fantasy 91, Cyberwolf 087, and Ampharos 64. However, as harsh as my style may be, I do not intend to sound condescending or arrogant or anything like that. My commentaries exist to provide what I think are straightforward refutations and criticisms of videos. None of my interjections are made out of spite. I may be harsh, but I think I am fair.
Harsh but fair. The community doesn't need any of your shitty commentaries. Are you serious? In fact, how about we make this less ambiguous for a second? Could this maybe, possibly be about Jonah Smith? Let me just see something here.
The CC doesn't need stuff like this. Oh, who made you the ruler of the commentary community? Oh, and before you pull up your description to try debunking me, I have issues with that, too. And no, Nero's muting a corpse in his persona, which doesn't equate to his overall feelings towards Larry, doesn't give you the right to be just as condescending, if not more. If anything, it makes you a massive hypocrite.
Well, nothing was debunked. You see, his point was that you were harsh, but not fair. Unless you are the ruler of commentaries.
I've been doing this long enough to where I generally feel pretty confident in my abilities as a commentator, but I never have once thought that I'm above anyone else or that my voice matters more than someone else's. After all, there's a fine line between confidence, being certain about the strength of your abilities, and arrogance, believing that you're the only one who matters. For God's sakes, I'm a guy who makes videos on the internet. I'm nobody special.
Oh, I guess not. Whatever. Harsh but fair, ladies and gentlemen.
I completely understand that my style is more old school. Heck, I joined the CC all the way back in 2011. But the only thing that really does is affect the tone of what I present instead of what I actually present.
Yeah, stupid dummy Jonah Smith. You know when you said SpaceGuru5 thought of Nero's as standoffish? He never actually said that. He just said Nero's appeared as such. Duh!
It was full of rambling nonsense, pointless tangents, and unwarranted hatred for Guru Larry. Which is pretty ironic considering you criticized him for supposedly hating the irate gamer. How about practice what you preach for once? Maybe it's not Larry who has the hate boner here. Ever think about that?
Oh.
Then along comes the people who have spite for me. They saw my reaction to people taking issue with my Nero's commentary, and they decided to spread the rumor that my video and my behavior was done out of arrogance and egotism.
No, Space Guru, they just said you appeared as arrogant and egotistical. Harsh but fair.
Let's talk about the dramas surrounding the Cloud Palace, since I am part of the group and have personally witnessed them.
Yay. My favorite.
The most recent brouhaha stemmed from the Cloud commentary on the Cam project, which was criticized en masse for a point about not crediting fan artists and the accidental inclusion of a picture of Undertale ecchi. As bad as both of these issues were, things were escalated further when some people decided to inform people beyond the CC about what was going on, despite them having no real need to know, as if it was some sort of cause célèbre.
No real need to know. Even if the artist wanted their art to be credited and found out people weren't doing that, they wouldn't have any need to know about it. Or are you talking about the Undertale porn? Cause that wasn't really spread outside of our community. Outsiders really only gave a shit about the uncredited fan art, and rightfully so. But speaking of the Undertale porn...
These actions were undertaken by people who have a genuine vendetta against the Cloud Palace and Doodle Tones, which was masked under the guise of the porn picture violating YouTube community guidelines. While it's true that YouTube prohibits sexual content, YouTube does take into account whether or not it's the main focus of the video and if it's used for the purpose of sexual gratification. It's a case-by-case basis, and so we can never really know for sure which videos will be removed and which videos will be age-restricted once flagged for containing said content. After all, the algorithm is notoriously exploited by so many people. Realistically, the video would have just likely been age-restricted since the picture wasn't even the main focus of the video. It was just used as an avatar picture for a brief moment, and it wasn't even included on purpose.
No. Take another look at this screenshot, Space Guru. Don't post content on YouTube if it has any of the items below. Depiction of genitals, breasts, or buttocks, clothed or unclothed, for the purposes of sexual gratification. Going to the age-restricted column, we may age-restrict content if it includes nudity or other sexual content, but doesn't depict anything described above. Back to the first column, other types of content that violate this policy, masturbation or fondling of genitals, breasts, or buttocks. Space Guru, in order for the video to be age-restricted over deletion, the private parts must first be showcased in a non-sexual environment, and spoiler alert, the image was mounted masturbating, so it doesn't count. Realistically, yeah, YouTube probably wouldn't do this shit, at least for a while, but that also doesn't discredit that it still goes against the terms of service, which is what the Omega and Kainu were going on about. Is all of this starting to sound familiar to anyone else? I mean, what with all these accusations about Space Guru being insensitive towards trauma, I mean, arrogant and egotistical. Come on, all he did was have poor word choice. I mean, all he said was that Nero's appeared as standoffish. Nothing more. Why can't we all just move on? I'll tell you why. I've gone on and on in this video about what makes a good apology, but if there's one thing I haven't touched upon yet, it would be this. Admitting you fucked up is half the battle. The other half is learning from your fuck-ups. Earlier on in this video, you go to state your flaws.
I can be impulsive, obsessive, overly defensive, aggressive, and a bit too sensitive.
And while it's great you know what your weaknesses are, it's not so great when you decide to act upon them anyways, especially more than once. If anything, it shows me and everyone else that you're not even trying. You apologizing means nothing if you're just gonna make the same mistake not even 2 weeks later, with the catch being it's under a different context. People accept apologies and assurance that what happened won't happen again, not just to give away get-out-of-jail-free cards. Thus, people aren't going to move on so easily if their acceptance or others' acceptances were in vain. Or at least I won't. Understand that. Space Guru, to level with you, I get that you're stressed. I think it's wise for you to take a break, as mental health will always come first for me. However, take this time to evaluate your actions, how you may have affected others, and what you can do moving forward. Maybe then your apologies will have some meaning. Or maybe you'll realize you probably weren't sorry to begin with. Or maybe...
So many people have been hurt in the fragments of this whole ordeal, and it's all because some people would rather operate on spite than actual reason. This kind of behavior is downright reprehensible. All the burnt bridges, strained relations, and heightened stress this has caused, alongside the underhanded tactics taken to accomplish all of this, is why I consider this animosity to be such a plague on the CC.
You'll just keep saying shit like that. Hello. I decided to bring my Twitter back today. Actually, not today, it was a while back, like back in December, because basically I realized that the subscriber button is fucking useless. So, yeah, if you want updates on my videos, just go to my Twitter. I probably won't be starting any drama though, hopefully. And I have a live stream account now. It's LiveTube Dude. It's on my channels. Channels like so if you want to fucking have a YouTube do live stream, you can check that out. Also, I premiered this commentary if everything went as planned. If everything went good, I may premiere more in the future. Maybe not in the next video though. I don't know. Okay, goodbye.
You're not gonna ask me to do it, are you? I haven't done the video since 2011. I'm out of practice, man.
No, I won't use it right away. This one's gonna be calmer. Try making a good commentary. The CC doesn't need shit like this.